Hi, everyone. I'm Sam.
I'm Alex.
And welcome to the first episode of I Have Questions, where we talk about movies that we love, or at least like, and all the things that didn't make sense about them.
It makes sense in the sense of the type of questions you don't ask when you're a kid. Like watching anything in retrospective always lends you to more questions than you had when you were younger because it's just entertainment to you.
Yeah, and when you're a kid, your suspension of disbelief is
That bar is
a lot lower.
Super low.
All right, so today we're going to talk about Matilda, The Karate Kid, and Chronicle because it's September and I had the brilliant idea of doing school-themed movies.
Take your word for that.
It was a good idea at the time. September, start of school movies.
Okay.
Only we couldn't really think of any school movies right off the bat.
That's the last time you were in school.
Yeah, it's been a while.
That wasn't a degree granting institution.
Yeah. Actually, I think the hardest thing was finding movies that we liked that the kids were in school, or the main characters were in school, I guess. But it's just hard to think about that stuff on the spot. So,
just like going into the record store.
All right. All right. So first, we're going to talk about Matilda because I wanted to freshen up on that movie, and I ended up watching the whole thing today. So, yeah. Hopefully you guys actually know these movies that we're talking about, because we're spoiling all of them. Also, this movie is from 1996. So yeah. If you're worried about spoilers, maybe you should get off the internet.
All right. Podcast's over. Go home. Get out of the car.
Okay.
Or you listen to this in the car.
Cool. All right. So, first question. Why is Danny DeVito the narrator when he's the worst character? Well, the second worst character in the whole movie.
It's like
and he's such a good narrator too. Like, he has such a nice, like, I imagine him sitting by the fireside with his glasses on and reading the book.
It's been a while since I've read the book, but I don't recall this conceit being that Danny DeVito, or the person he plays, as also the narrator in the book either.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. So, Danny DeVito, well, because Danny DeVito, he produced it and directed it. So
So Danny DeVito probably gets a lot of shit in some regards, I guess. But
I like him.
But I'm very positive on him. But it is kind of one of those things now looking back in retrospect, it's like, why is the abusive father figure the narrator?
Yeah, that's like literally the first question in my notes. Why is the abusive father the narrator? Because it just doesn't make any sense, because it's like, okay, obviously these two people are the same because they have the same voice, but this guy who's narrating is so nice and kind and happy about Matilda, and then the actual father comes in, and you're just like, who is this person that was allowed to have a child? Not only a child, but two children.
Yeah, so were you trying to bamboozle us into believing that it was not the same person? Because Danny DeVito has a pretty distinct voice.
Yeah.
That's like, I'm not going to confuse the person he's playing, who's playing fairly well, because, I mean, it's a caricature of a cheapskate bad parent. Mm. And the smooth, authoritative tones of a fascinated and intrigued narrator.
Yeah, who's just like looking upon his life and be like, look at this wonderful specimen of a child.
And it's just like,
what?
Okay.
Yeah. So, but also, like,
is it him like reflecting on his past? Does he become a better person in this alternate?
I don't know. There's no hint whatsoever that the narrator is any way, shape, or form a part of Matilda's life, because I don't know. But, like, also, they're just, when they come out of the hospital, they're already bad parents. So I'm just like, was abortion not an option? Like, why do you hate this child so much?
I remember one of the opening lines in it too, or one of the beginning lines. It's like, I was like, something $1,000 to deliver a kid. What are they going to do? Repossess the kid?
Yeah.
I'm paying it.
She's like, I needed to take a shower.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's weird. Also, usually if you're giving birth, you get like a sponge bath or something. I don't really. I mean, when my sister had a kid, I don't remember her like getting up and getting in the shower. Like she needed help just to go pee. So I don't imagine her being like, I need to go take a shower now. Like how long were you in labor? Yeah. Yeah. No, but yeah, like obviously they're the worst parents ever, and you're just like, how did you get away with this? Like, how did you get away with having a second child?
I actually don't even remember the first child in the movie.
It's the boy, like it's an older boy that I guess maybe he wanted another son or something, because he literally he's like, I have one strapping young boy and a mistake. I was like, what the
Jesus Christ!
You guys are married. Like,
yeah.
This is not like, oh, drunken night after prom, we had a baby. Like, you're married and this is your second child.
Yeah.
You had 9 months to deal with this quote unquote mistake, I guess. I don't know. I was just like, adoption, putting it up for adoption was also an option.
Because apparently, I mean, that's basically...
Leaving it in a church would have been better.
Yeah. And that ends up being the crux of, like, the end of the film anyway, or the end, even the end of the book series. It was just like, her teacher adopts her, and it's just like...
Spoilers.
No, it's not a spoiler. That's like saying, this is a spoiler. Oh, by the way, King Kong climbs a building. No.
Yeah, oh, by the way, this child's story ends happily.
Of course, because...
It's just like... But I think, I don't know, maybe that's like a thing for Roald Dahl. Like, he just gives these kids the worst childhoods ever.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and then the ending was so happy, and now they have a family, and everything's great. And you're just like, God, was your childhood that bad that all of the adult figures in your books are just the worst? Like all the parents, the aunts, uncle, they're just the worst people.
I mean, that's always my problem in general when it comes to, like, in, like, retrospect for, like, the neglectful family portion, where it's just like,
this is illegal.
Yeah, it's like, this is illegal. It's like, don't get me wrong, CPS does fuck up, but, or I'm sorry, for those who don't know, Child Protective Services does fuck up. That being said, it's like, someone would have had to have come in at some point in this situation. Someone had to have reported, because if they're this kind of scum all the time to this degree, that chances are reflects in the rest of their life. The guy's a car dealer. He's probably under...
Yeah.
He ends up under investigation. That's why they end up moving.
Yeah, under investigation by the worst FBI agents. Pee Wee Herman. Pee Wee Herman is one of the FBI
He's a national fucking treasure.
It's so weird. Because I remember writing in my notes, Pee Wee Herman is in this? I totally forgot. Yeah, they're like the really shitty FBI agents that just sit in their car and watch TV when they're supposed to be doing a stakeout, which is strange because, like, they have a TV in their car in 1996.
That was a big... So, in fairness, because you were 7.
I was 6, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
When did it come out? January? No.
August.
96. Yeah, I was 6.
Yeah.
I was 6.
Anyway, so I was old enough and more mature. Let me get my monocle. Anyway.
You were like 10?
Fuck off. Anyway.
You were actually, you were 10.
So my parents had a portable TV, and this is still microchip era hasn't even, like, really peaked, but we're still coming into a boom in the early mid to late 90s now, and portable televisions were all the rage. I cannot express, like, the experience of which the technology just skyrocketed, because we didn't have this shit when I was a kid. I was still a kid, but when I was younger, my parents didn't have anything resembling this. We still had a CRT, a cathode ray tube television.
Oh, in case you guys don't know, Alex, like, jizzes over modern technology.
Only if I can get a good photo shoot out of it.
Ew.
You're going to bring it that far. I'm going to make it go further.
Are you going to, like, pose naked around a 1996 portable television?
Yes, with it only covering my junk.
I don't want to think about it.
Which is to say, it'll cover my entire lower half anyway, because it's that big.
Why are you doing this to me?
Why are you doing it to yourself? So, my parents had a portable television in the early 90s, because we did a lot of road trips when I was a kid. I just thought it was...
I had books.
Yeah, so did I.
Crossword puzzles.
But, you know, they didn't know any better. And I read most of my books at home.
Yeah, and yeah. But, like, I'm younger than you. This is not fair.
Barely.
We didn't have TV in the car. Well, yeah, I don't think we ever had a TV in the car.
Also the
I had Game Boys, but we never had, like, a TV in the car.
Back when there was no backlight.
Oh, yeah. I can probably attribute my really poor eyesight to all the times playing Game Boy with no backlight. No, I had the Game Boy Advance, you know, the one that you could get the light to shine. Okay, that also did nothing because that battery lasted like 20 minutes. Yeah. All right, back to the movie. All right, so I wrote, surprised they took the time to name her.
Yeah, I was like, that's curious.
You could have just been like, this is it. We just wrote the thing.
Yeah, cosa.
They're just like, yeah, and then they just leave her at home. And just like, oh, soup's in the fridge. And this girl is cooking. Like, she's cooking. Like, she makes, like, a full breakfast. And, like, one of the first scenes. And I'm just like, but where did she learn how to cook? No one in that house can cook.
Yeah, I don't suspect they're the household that has cookbooks.
But, or appliances to cook.
Were they running Julia Child reruns?
Like, I don't know. Probably. Because the dad's like, they watch TV all the time. He's like, oh, everything you can learn from a television. And, like, she learned how to cook before the library. Or was it after that? I don't know. Yeah, no. In the scene, she learns about the library later. And then the librarian has the nerve to be like, you can check out as many books as you like. That is not true.
Shenanigans.
You cannot check out as many books as you like. I have tried. Your limit is 10. That is how.
Why the fuck would you need more?
I have some research projects.
That's fair.
But yeah, you can't well, I don't know. Well, the Dade County Public Library system doesn't let you check out more than, well, when I was a kid, they didn't let me check out more than 10 books.
3.
And then they had the nerve to be like, oh, you didn't return them. Yes, I did. I returned all my books. Actually, I incurred a $70 fine because they thought I didn't return all the books. And I returned them all at the same time. I never paid it. I never went back to that library.
Tell that you're still holding a grudge.
I returned those books. I did. Whatever, I just went to a different library. We moved anyway, so it didn't matter. And I had the internet, so I just needed, because it was like, you know, back in the day where they're like, you need book sources for your report. We won't take Wikipedia. This was back when I was,
yes.
I wasn't smart enough to just cite the Wikipedia sources.
Young enough that Wikipedia was an issue.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. I had encyclopedias in my house, so it was fine.
Encyclopedia is barely a source.
I read the entire encyclopedia as a kid. That's why I was just like, I identify with you, Matilda. I love going to the library, and I've read the entire encyclopedia. Because I have no friends.
It's true, she's renting me.
I have no friends. I mean, I have friends now. I just didn't. I didn't live in a neighborhood with a lot of kids. So this is why I watched so many movies as a kid. I didn't have any friends. I didn't go outside. It was hot. I lived in Florida. It's way too hot. My mom didn't like pets, so I didn't even have a pet to take care of. So I had a fish, but it died.
So it's interesting.
Quickly
they say
and
this,
swiftly.
So your spirit animal is Matilda, and yet you had a very loving household.
No, actually, yeah, that's true. I have awesome parents. Like, yeah.
It's always interesting.
I have awesome parents. I just love reading.
So I guess it's more interesting, or I guess it's interesting in the sense that, like, for Matilda itself, it's like in most young adult type, well, I guess it's before young adult became a genre unto itself, I suppose, or as popular as it is now, where the main character, child, has circumstances thrust upon themselves. I mean, this goes back even further. This is not just, early 90s, late 80s. I mean, Ender's Game is that way.
Yeah.
For God's sakes. It's like, Ender just gets the shit kicked out of him the entire way. It's like...
We're going to get to that one. We're going to get to that movie. And all the problems I have with that movie.
Here's your PTSD. The thing is, it's written very well for that situation, because it's like, it doesn't pull its punches in that regard, where it's just like, oh, by the way, these people are scum. It's like,
oh yeah,
it's better than the dumb adult narrative as opposed to like, but this is like the, you're you're useful, as opposed to like in a lot of modern young adult stuff where it's like the parents are idiots completely.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the basis of
It's
young
like,
adult.
we need to give this child a background of circumstances, and then we treat it as a shorthand to give them some sort of at-home conflict, and then an outer conflict that is the real struggle for them.
But like a lot of young adult writers don't really understand that just like there's a difference between like giving your main character some hardships to get over and like internal conflicts and then just torturing.
Yeah.
which is basically what happens to Matilda. But I don't know. I like that.
And even the circumstances around that. It's like, even the school too, it's just like, like in retrospect, it's like, yeah, I mean, as a kid, I can understand it from that childhood perspective of you were experiencing emotions and circumstances for the first time. So anytime you experience them, they always feel very important. Like they're just there.
Yeah.
And it always feels honest to you because it's the first time you're experiencing it. A lot of the time it's bullshit. And in this case, it's bullshit because it's like, there can't be this many people that are this shitty. I mean, there are, but
there's Miss Honey. She's nice, but she's also worse.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like,
with her own abuse.
And you didn't call the cops.
Also, yeah, I wrote this down in my notes. I was just like, so does this school just not have accreditation because like they schools get inspected?
Yeah.
By the state, and clearly this is not a public school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
If this is a public school, I think it'd be shut down even faster.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Or like a lot of people would be like extradited.
It's like Trunchbull.
Extracted. Yeah, Trunchbull. Yeah. Remember she owned it?
I don't know if she owned the school or whatever. Whatever. All I know is that Miss Trunchbull was a freaking psycho.
Yeah.
Like she shouldn't have been around other human beings, let alone children.
It's like the chokey. It's like this isn't for high security. This isn't the Bastille. What's going on?
And it's like smoking on its own. I guess was it like the boiler room or something? But it's like a closet.
Like for a child, that would kill most children.
Yeah, because like every time someone comes out, they're like always coughing and there's smoke behind them. I'm just like, is that a closet? Like, where's the smoke coming from? And there's like spikes coming into the door.
It's the ancient bull.
Yeah, there are so many times I'm watching the movie and I was just like, okay, like that child is dead.
Yeah.
Oh no, they're alive. They survived.
You can't tell me.
She throws the child over the fence and they're like, she's gonna clear it. Oh, I don't know. Like that's murder. That was almost murder that just happened.
Yeah, even if it's a standard like 5-foot fence, someone lands wrong, boom, dead. You can't tell me someone that sadistic.
It was a spiked fence.
Didn't kill somebody on accident.
Yeah, but like we have to talk about the best scene in the whole movie. Bruce, the fucking legend.
The cake.
And the cake.
I wasn't too fat a kid, but I still remember it's like, I want that fucking cake.
No, but it wasn't even that. It's just like when he came up on stage and it was just, the sass. When he goes, she's like, you know what I'm talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. He's like, this cake. He goes, we were talking about yesterday. I mean, I have a hard time keeping track of what I did. And I was just like, the sass. Bruce is the freaking legend, man. Like he had the balls to get up there with a woman who is known already that she tortures kids. He just gets up there. He's like, I mean, yesterday around like what time? Because I did a lot of stuff yesterday. like the sass, Bruce. And then she's like, oh, my delicious cake. He's like, my mom's is better.
It's like,
I just love it because the whole audience is like,
you done fucked up. Good lie. Good lie.
Sass,
you gotta keep
the sass.
You gotta keep the lie going, but you gotta still want to cut off.
Like Bruce, Bruce is the legend. I will never forget that scene because I just remember him being like, my mom's is better. And then the lunch lady's name is Cookie. What prison did they find this lunch lady in? Oh my God. She's like She's like wiping snot off of her like face and like wiping the sweat after she like puts the cake down. This impossibly large cake, by the way. Like these are impossibly large pieces of cake. Like what human being needs a cake that big?
Are you serving a wedding party?
No, just Miss Trunchbull. Because apparently she just fucking eats chocolate. The only thing I ever see her eat in the movie is chocolate. I don't see her eat anything else. She has a piece of chocolate cake at home too. And she just like, when they break into her house, she just like, after she hears something, like chasing them around, she's like, oh, I didn't hear the sound. And she sits down and she's like, I'm gonna eat my cake. Really? You're not gonna do an inspection on your house?
This is a Metal Gear Solid where you lose all awareness.
Right?
It's like, oh, it must have been a large rat. It's like, that was a silhouette of a man.
And then also she's boarded up pretty much every exit to her house. Because they're like trying to find ways to get out of the house and they can't because she's boarded up like the back door.
That implies that she's maybe trying to keep things in rather than out.
I don't know. It's really weird. She's, like I said, she's a psycho.
Yeah.
She's legit a psycho. The way she's like running around her house full speed trying to catch like whoever's trying to break into her home, whatever. And then she jumps off the second floor. And like lands in this like sumo crouch and turns around and it's just like pounding like doom, 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 down the hallway. It's just like, it's your own house. Like you don't need to destroy it.
Yeah.
Well, technically it's not her house. And they address that in the movie where he's like, Agatha, give my Bumblebee back her house. And it's just like when Matilda pretends it's a ghost and it scares the shit out of Chronicle. Yeah. Also, that was kind of a weird scene. I never realized the kids definitely read faster than that chalk wrote on the board. Yeah, that chalk didn't write fast enough for how fast those kids were reading.
Yeah.
And also they were all reading in sync. This is supposed to be a first grade class, by the way. Yeah, Matilda's supposed to be 6.5.
Oh, god damn, that fucks up a lot of stuff. Oh, wait.
She's supposed to be 6.5. Because they're like, you're 4. I'm 6.5. No, you're 4. I'm 6.5. And they're like, and then it goes to the mom. Oh, how old are you? She's 4. See, I told you, you're a little liar. And I was like, a birth certificate will clear up this little argument real quickly. Like, also, how are you going to tell someone like you're 4? No, I'm 6.5. I've been living for 6.5 years. And they're like, no, I think you're wrong about that. Like, what? What?
6.5-year-old is barely cognizant.
Yeah. I just remember writing in my notes the fucking cheery. Also, there's a kid named Pretentia, or I don't remember what her name is. I just remember like she mentioned her name once. It's the really tall girl who looks like she's in 6th grade, but she says it's like 2nd or 3rd.
I mean, that's always a problem in general with any type of.
But this kid is twice as tall. Like she's twice the height of everyone else at the school.
Yeah, it's funny to think because like in retrospect, coming back to like, oh, she's 6. It's like, fucking A, really? It's like.
Mara Wilson was not 6.
Yeah, she was not fucking 6.
Mara Wilson was like 10.
Yeah. Because, we can't. And there's a reason for that. Because a 5 and 6-year-old would probably be the first to call out. It's like, this is bullshit? I mean, I won't say bullshit, but.
I mean, and they do call. Like, the kids have a lot of sass. Like, they don't always.
Yeah. But this is like. This is the kind of show where it's like, these kids would be coming home with, like, PTSD. They should also be coming home with bruises. Yeah. From her grabbing them. Yeah. Like you can bruise someone. Yeah, and the helicopter parenting of the fucking late 90s would have had parents calling. Right? My parents would have called. Yeah. Like, my parents came in school anytime anyone ever called. Like when she keeps everyone, she's like, I'm gonna keep everyone for 5 hours. Like, you mean to tell me no parents called and was just like, where the hell is my child? Yeah. After hour 1 and their 6-year-old didn't come back home. Yeah. I just thought that was weird. This is the problem with like outlandish scenarios where it's like, don't get me wrong, it's like I loved it as a kid. I totally do. I don't know. I still love the movie. I watched the whole thing again today. But I think as an adult, you can appreciate more of the outlandishness of it. And I guess from like the perspective of like, if in the sense that if you were perceiving it as a child, everyone seems awful in like the worst possible ways. Yeah, I think that too. I think it's definitely a part of it is
the kids see her as so horrible, so it paints her maybe in a more horrible light.
Yeah.
And everything seems scary. Like, her entrance to the school, like, you know, the first time we actually see her face, there's a kid that actually screams.
Yeah.
Like, she walks out and, like, you know, usually because, you know, everyone's like, be silent, maybe she won't notice us. There's a kid that goes, ah! Like, just screams out of nowhere. It's just like, I don't remember that happening. But I don't know if she was terrible because of the kids' view of her. Because in elementary school, somebody who's bad is pretty, like,
it's
you don't know what evil is yet.
Yeah.
But so, like, for someone to be so mean, I guess, then it's, you know, it seems worse than it is. But she, like, legit just insults the kid. And I was like, no kid is making up this insult. She calls them, like, disgusting little maggots.
Yeah.
And, like earwigs and everything. And she's just like, oh, like, children are disgusting and I hate them and stuff. So I don't know. But also Miss Honey, I know, like, she's so sweet and kind and everything. But as an adult, I'm just like, geez, like, just grow a backbone, Miss Honey. Like, you're not a kid anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you're not a child. You're a full-grown adult with a degree. Like,
she's complicit in the abuse.
Yeah.
I have no sympathy.
Yeah, like, why are you...
This is literally abuse.
Like
especially
that?
to 5 and 6 year olds.
Also, apparently she just never moved away from Trunchbull, even though she has a job.
Yeah.
She has a degree, she has a job. You can leave. Like, you don't have to
this is before
live and work with her.
There was still a job market then.
Yeah. So, yeah, in my notes, it's just like, Honey is a wuss. Yeah. And also, yeah. And I said this class has balls. Like, the little girl, Lavender. What's the name of that actress? She was really
adorable. I don't know, the problem I have...
And she was a voice actor.
Like, the problem in retrospect I have is, like, I think the view that it's from the exaggerated point of view of a child to a degree, but the problem with film as a medium is, like, it's how you frame things. It doesn't frame it like that at all.
Yeah, it frames it as she's the worst person ever. Yeah. But in the books, it's more like it's Matilda's point of view. Yeah. And, of course, all the kids are telling all the stories about how crazy she is. So, like, you know, so when Matilda finally, like, talks to Trunchbull, or Trunchbull talks to her, she's already scared of her.
Yeah.
So that makes sense in the books. But in movies, she just seems like the worst person ever. And Miss Honey seems like she's so nice and sweet and kind of a carpet. Like, and just gets walked all over by Trunchbull. And yeah, she, like, saves the kids every once in a while, but it's... I feel like you should have...
She probably helped bury the bodies.
You could have called CPS at any point. So, I don't know. But yeah. And then, yeah, I wrote 90s multicultural classrooms.
In fairness,
there's a child of every race in that one first grade class.
This is a
that
movie,
first grade
though.
Class of, like,
I don't know if the book ever mentions anything
kids. Yes, yeah, that's what it's clearly. It's 90s.
Yeah,
it's the 90s. We have
yeah
kids from all around the world in this one classroom because that's totally how.
Was there a wheelchair-bound kid?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I don't remember any of the kids being. I feel like they would have been the ones that were picked off the quickest. Anyone who couldn't run fast enough from her. I feel like, yeah, Trunchbull wouldn't have abided by any handicapped children at her school.
He's like, we gotta put a ramp.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, in my day, it was just like, you pull yourself up those stairs. Like, I don't know, from the war, I guess. I don't know.
Let's see, the Gulf War, I think, would have still been going on.
Well, there's some kind of war going on.
That was the only.
Also, what's Trunchbull's accent? I don't know. Is she British? Is she American?
I'm gonna go with British just because at the time of the 90s, it's like all our villains are British for some reason.
The 90s? You mean like now? all of our villains are British.
Oh, we do that. Well, now I mean they were Russians or Arab, but that's post 9/11.
Yeah, that's true.
Or anyone of color, essentially.
Cool. Yeah. Any more thoughts about Matilda?
Not in particular.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a break.
And we are back.
Welcome back!
So
we're going to talk about Karate Kid. Obviously, the original.
yes, because the Little Bow Wow one. Actually,
it's not Little Bow Wow.
Was it?
Jaden Smith.
Was it?
Yes. Will Smith's son.
Oh, not even less. I care even less now, suddenly.
What? Yeah, Alex has some weird hate for Jaden Smith that I don't really understand.
What do you mean weird hate?
He's just a kid. I mean,
he's a kid.
I make it. I make it a point not to severely dislike kids that are not fictional characters.
His father even shamed him like in front of him, where it's just like, I mean, when we were young, we didn't have these mediums to show our stupid stuff. It's like, yeah, it's a shame that you're not imparting that knowledge to your son.
I mean, you can't control that though.
You totally can't.
You really can't. Trust me. Like, I mean, there are so many things that I did that my parents were like, this is a really bad idea. And I was like, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yes.
But you didn't have a platform to show people you were doing that stupid shit.
If I could have, I probably would have done it. Anyway, so we're not talking about the Jaden Smith version. We're talking about old school 1980s martial arts movies.
Neither of us were born.
Nah, I wasn't born.
Even less so.
Bored, but I really...
I was at least possibly a twinkle in my father's eye.
I was planned. I just wasn't happening. 1990 was a good year to be born. My birth. Yeah, it's really easy to remember my age, despite the fact that my father definitely forgets my age sometimes. Anyway, that's not important.
Third child.
I'm his only child. I'm my dad's only child.
Oh.
Biologically.
Oh,
anyway.
okay. Oh, okay.
All right, so yeah, let's talk about Daniel. Oh my god. To be completely honest, I don't like Daniel. Like, I don't like him as a kid. I know I just said I try not to hate kids that are fictional, but he's fictional. But he's just like, he's so whiny in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And he's whiny and like he gets into fights. I think, and he gets into a fight like the first 10 minutes of the movie. Because he's just like new kid in school. And of course, you know, old school 80s and 90s, like our bullies have like no empathy whatsoever. And they are just like shits of human beings and no redeeming qualities whatsoever in the beginning of the movie. So like he just gets bullied like right out the bat. And then he gets his ass kicked multiple times. So it's just like you're whiny, and you have nothing to back up any of your claims in the beginning of the movie. So, yeah, he just kind of sucks as a kid.
Like you come from, again, coming back to the position of powerlessness. In the case of Matilda, it's wit and intelligence, and in Karate Kid, it's force, but it's coming up through physical ability instead, and some levels of empathy, as Miyagi basically acts like a surrogate father figure throughout the film.
Not really. He doesn't really talk that much in the beginning.
He doesn't have to. That's like he's still
Danny just like, but he whines like
like a
good portion of
like a whiny ass teenager.
I don't remember
go read your live journal entries. You're whiny as fuck.
I did have a live journal.
Yes, you did. We all did.
But
rather than think about it.
It wasn't a journal for me though. I didn't like write about my day. I think I wrote fan fiction.
You slashed out.
I think I watched. It wasn't slash. Okay, it might have been slash.
Yeah, I know that shit was slashed.
I don't remember. I was a kid. I didn't care. I just wrote whatever. But yeah. But of course, it's just like there's a cute girl who sees past my dorky whininess.
Lady.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah. It's just like I always thought that was really weird about like 80s and 90s movies, about how the whiny, nerdy kid somehow gets noticed by the cutest girl in the school who tends to be either the girlfriend of the bully or the popular guy, or someone that the popular guy is like going after, and you're always just like, that's not how high school works.
Yeah. But it is coming from the 80s, where, you know, the era of the beefcake, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Let's not even think about Steven Seagal in that category. No, he really wasn't. Anyway, Steven Seagal, Dolph Lundgren, Sylvester Stallone, Bruce Willis. He was really not.
Yeah.
Because if anything, he was kind of like nearly the antithesis of it. Because he's like, guy's already balding. Guy looks like a regular dad.
That's true. Bruce Willis has always looked like a dad.
He kind of helped end part of the beefcake era to a degree, because like he pretty much didn't fit that mold. He wasn't like ultra stacked comparatively, but
he was like macho and gritty.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so like we get into the movie and then you meet Cobra Kai, freaking like the instructor, who, as Wikipedia says, is an ex-Special Forces Vietnam vet, which is just like, wow, and the best place for you to be is teaching children how to kick other people's asses.
You gotta work through that PTSD somehow.
I'm sorry for the clinking, by the way.
I guess.
Obviously, I'm drinking water. Have fun editing this.
I'm just gonna play that clink sound throughout the thing, but only when you're talking.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just like this guy. I just remember the first time seeing him, I was just like, this isn't a real human being. Like, are there people who are like this?
I feel like there always are. Like, I've never felt like it's like this person is too ridiculous. It's just like, in fairness, I want to say we're sheltered, but at the same time, it's like, the lives we've lived have not necessarily necessitated us having to deal with these type of dipshits.
The shittiest people on the planet.
I've worked retail, and I've worked with some shitty people.
Yeah.
Not just worked with, but had to help shitty people. Like, I had someone threaten to call the cops on me. Or call a news crew on me. A little high school kid. I've had someone threaten to call a fucking news crew on me because they couldn't find, because the other store said we had a bike that we didn't actually have. And
you gotta love it. Oh my god.
It's like, dude, I'm 17. Just so you need like a point of scale.
Was it a mom?
No, it's a guy.
It was a dad?
Yeah. I really don't.
I don't know who are worse.
Shittiness.
Stay-at-home moms or like
shittiness knows no gender.
Dads, like the dads who are like, I'm gonna get my kid this thing that is really hard to find, and I'm getting it last minute.
Over the years, I would just tell people it's like, but I wasn't able to make it during this time of the sale. It's like, yes, and there were other people who were. Pretty much, and that pretty much shut down any debate I ever have.
Yeah, anyone, just like you don't know the true shittiness of people until you work retail or customer service.
Yeah. That being said, it's like, yeah, the type of person that Cobra Kai.
John Kreese is apparently his name. I don't know. I just called him the Cobra Kai guy.
Yeah, which is interesting because like,
do they actually say his name?
Yes.
Okay, I don't remember.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Anyway,
get your thoughts together.
Pour me another glass. No, no. It's one of those things where it's like. One interesting framing point I think I like in the film towards the end actually is jumping ahead. You can really tell that like the instructor for Cobra Kai
shouldn't be around children.
Shouldn't be around children, and you can tell he's projecting his own inadequacies and failures because when he asks, God damn it, Johnny to sweep the leg or whatever. You can see some reluctance in him. Like,
well, yeah, I mean,
like it's like he's just treating the people who are under his tutelage. It's like, yeah, they can be a bit aggressive, but like they're still treating it like a discipline to a degree.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like Johnny in the beginning of the movie, he's a shithead. Like he's kind of the worst.
Yeah,
but you can see as the movie goes on, he's not as shitty as like we thought he was. He's just kind of being the guy that Cobra Kai kind of made him into.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that's when it gets to like, you know, the championships and everything, then you can kind of see that he's kind of being like, I don't think I like this person that I've become.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And which I think is good, because usually in movies, like the bullies don't have that moment of the reluctance to do this shitty thing. So I mean, I think that's kind of why I liked it so much. Like that final fight where you can see in the beginning, like he's reluctant to do it, and then he does, and then he respects Danny even more for getting up afterwards. Like, all of a sudden the whole team just respects Danny for getting up and you know doing his thing. But you know, I liked that moment that he had, because you don't really get that moment a lot.
Or your villains are usually cartoon.
Yeah,
villains.
you're usually like the bullies are just like, you know, straight up.
Like there's nothing redeeming.
Stephen King, like the bully is like, you have no redeeming qualities. You're just a shit stain of a human being.
As opposed to like, you know, basic self-interest.
Yeah.
So as like a school movie, it's like, it's interesting that it actually has, you know, as opposed to like the extreme exaggeration of Matilda.
Yeah, of just like these people, these bullies have no redeeming qualities. They're the worst people in the world. And then you have like, hey, this kid is realizing that.
Yeah. He may not have it already, or maybe he actually realized like, oh, I'm kind of a dick.
Yeah. But it's like, I don't remember if we ever really saw into
well, it's not their story.
Johnny's life.
Well, it's not their story.
But like you can tell, I think that the instructor is kind of really the only adult in his life that he can like look up to and is teaching him and stuff. So I mean, I guess that's kind of where he picked it up, but it's also just, where else are you? You know, that's like, we don't really see the teachers that much. So, you know, I don't think anybody's like really stepped in and being like, you need to pull back.
Yeah, it's like you need structure, but not this kind of structure or things like that. But structure is one of those things that people crave in general, especially when you're young and you need something to kind of like strive towards.
Yeah.
Danny, of course, you know, needed some sort of structure. It's like he needed to get around his tormentors, in this case, physical force, even though Miyagi's preaching not to fight.
It's the trope of single mother who's just too busy to know what's going on in her kid's life, and then next thing she blinks and her child is a teenager, so you know, not really paying attention. But
I think it's interesting just in the end where it's like 2 movies so far now, and the primary antagonist is essentially an adult, because like Johnny really isn't his antagonist.
Not at all.
They frame him as the antagonist, but he's really not the antagonist.
Not at all. Johnny's just because once again, Allie, the really cute girl who just happens to be the ex of the bully, you know, he's dealing with, he didn't deal with the breakup very well.
Yeah.
And he's apparently like the top student at this like basically militant karate school, and his instructors, just like probably still dealing with PTSD.
Yeah.
And you know, he's just the product of that. So he's not really, it's kind of like how like in Harry Potter, Draco's not a villain. Like he's not
thrust upon by circumstances.
Like he's just a product of environment. But it's like, you know, I never really thought of Johnny as the villain. I always thought of the Cobra Kai instructor. Like he's the bad guy. He's the one who, you know, when like Miyagi like intervenes and stops the fight, and he's just like, hey, like we're sorry, peace between, you know, these kids, and he's like, no, they need to fight it out. And then you can tell, and it's just like, well, now Johnny's got to keep beating up this kid. So yeah, because that's what happened. That's why they end up having that big fight anyway, because like after their fight that Miyagi breaks up, the Cobra Kai instructor is just like, oh yeah, they need to, no peace between us. Like, oh, you know, you guys, you need to fight it out, be like a man and stuff. So I feel like, Johnny just kind of, if you get that yelled at you every day, like you got to tough it out, be a man, fight through it. And like, you know, there's really only way you're going to end up. There's only one way you're going to end up for that. It's going to be, you know, this tough outer shell, but you don't really know how to deal with your emotions. But like, yeah, I genuinely, I like Karate Kid, and I like those moments like between Miyagi and Daniel when they start like bonding and stuff, which they didn't really do that well in the new movie. Well, okay, we won't talk about it, sorry. But I like Taraji P. Henson. I think she's a major actress, and she plays a better mom in the new movie than whoever Daniel's mother. I don't remember her.
Didn't see it.
That's how much she's not in the movie. But like Taraji P is actually she actually cares about her. So she's just like, oh, this new life, you're gonna like this. How's school? What's going on? And then he's just like, oh, everything sucks. And she's like, I'm trying to be a part of your life. I'm trying to. It's just like I'm trying to ask you how you're doing. And he's like, oh, everything sucks. I'm a teenager. She's like, you'll get through it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is the one thing I like about the new movie. She's a better mother than the old movie's mom is, who I rarely see and don't remember at all. But yeah, just it has like, you know, the standard like learning life lessons, and Mr. Miyagi has a dark past, and you know, you just have to see past the hard exterior to know the soft puppy dog of a man that's underneath, and he's such a good mentor and stuff. So yeah, there are a lot of 80s movies that have that, of just like this really, really tough, well, like silent type guy who nobody really knows his past and knows anything about him, but it just turns out like he's just lonely. Like, he's just really lonely, and something really tragic. What happened to him? I don't remember actually what happened. Oh, okay. Miyagi was he lost his wife and son in an internment camp during World War II.
Mm.
Wow. Okay. I think in the new movie, I think it was a car accident that killed the kids. But yeah, but it's always like whole families killed. They have nothing to live for, but they just keep going. And finally, some whiny little kid comes along for them to fix all his mistakes, teach him about life, find a new meaning. But whatever. Like, who cares? Who cares? The fight at the end is the best.
Oh yeah,
that's the only thing I really care about.
It's funny because we definitely had, you know, better kung fu movies at this time.
We did so much better.
But you know,
all of Bruce Lee's movie.
All of Bruce Lee.
All of Bruce Lee.
Early,
Donnie Yen started coming into the
early Jackie Chan is still around this time. Yeah, even some Hong films are still good too.
Yeah.
So it's like we could get them because this is
early Jackie Chan.
This is Hollywood video peak.
Oh, Donnie Yen might have been 90s, but the beginnings of Jet Li.
Yeah,
like we had
super beginnings of Jet Li.
Yeah, but there's also which you didn't want me to include, but I wanted to. Three Ninjas. I watched the shit out of it.
So did I, but. It does not. So it's like watching Voltron. It doesn't hold up at all.
Oh,
it's like
so bad.
It's not even endearing. It's not even endearing in a bad way. Like Joe's apartment is endearing in a bad way, and I
just the Three Ninjas though.
Yeah, because you're young, you didn't know any better, and they're way better kung fu movies ever out for you. And then you were watching. It's just like the costumes are cool. Everything else is a slog.
Is the grandpa the same person in the Three Ninjas? Who's the grandpa?
Pat Morita.
Wikipedia, don't fail us. Oh wow, that's what he used to look like?
That's a 1971 publicity photo.
Oh.
As it says.
Was he the grandpa in Three? No, I remember. The grandpa in Three Ninjas was like really stereotypical. Really stereotypical. Also, I didn't really understand that. Those kids didn't look Asian at all. And their grandpa was Japanese.
Yeah, we had to list some level of credibility to the martial arts, I suppose.
Like, I did what? Like, how did that happen? Okay, okay, we can talk about Three Ninjas. Actually, I don't know if I want to dedicate part of an episode. Oh, I'm looking it up.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm looking it up.
Take the wheel.
Is there a sequel?
There's like 3 sequels.
There's 3 sequels to Three Ninjas?
Yeah, it's like two other movies came out.
Are you serious? Oh my god, Three Ninjas was the most profitable 92 flick. 92 must have been a bad year.
We had low standards. Is it? The
Oh my god.
The 90s sucked, by the way.
90s were great.
You're too young.
Victor Wong, a Chinese guy, played their Japanese grandfather. No wonder he was so stereotypical. Oh my gosh.
As is tradition.
Yeah, I guess, okay, how is it that somebody called Mori Tanaka has a daughter called, what is it? Jessica. I guess Mori Tanaka just had to have a white woman, and then the daughter got none of the Japanese traits, and then the 3 grandchildren also got none of those Japanese traits. Yeah, the kids are called Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum.
Tell me there's
He nicknamed them. He nicknamed them Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum. Oh God,
was Tum Tum.
this is a beautiful movie. We're gonna do an episode on that. I don't care what you say.
God, I have to rewatch that bullshit. I remember liking it as a kid, but it definitely did not age well.
All right, so
we have the adversity of everything being shit in your child, and overcoming it through cleverness and psychic abilities, apparently.
Yeah.
That eventually dissipate.
Yeah, and then we have everyone being cruel because you're weak physically.
And then having to overcome that through strength.
And next we're going to do everyone hates you because you're just a moody teenager and the people around you are actually trying to help you.
Yeah. Okay. It's just like, suck it up. Or actually listen to your friends. And maybe not commit manslaughter.
All right, cool.
Murder.
So next we're going to talk about Chronicle. So let's take a break.
And we're back.
We're back. And now we're talking about Chronicle. 2012 film about superhero. Well, they're not really superhero. They have superpowers.
Yeah, it's.
But they're not heroes.
Did you want a live action Dragon Ball Z that didn't suck ass? Well, I've got a film for you.
I've never actually seen the Dragon Ball movie.
No.
I haven't seen the Dragon Ball movie. I haven't seen the Avatar movie. What other?
The only reason I stayed, it would have been the second film I'd ever walked out on.
I walked out on Pluto Nash.
Well, you're not wrong. That's a far fall. Like, they've already made good fucking films in the late 90s and early 2000s. I haven't seen past
the first 10 minutes of the movie.
But, yeah. Anyway.
All right, so yeah. Talking about Chronicle, Michael B. Jordan is in it. Young Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, God, yeah, no.
Is in it. Young, fresh-faced, no facial hair, and still kind of a skinny head, no muscles. Even though doesn't he play like a jock in this movie, though? I guess Michael B. Jordan's always kind of being, like, built. But, yeah, he played...
Yeah. It barely focuses on their background in that regard, at least. Like, it doesn't take the time... It doesn't bother talking about their school personas so much as it does how they react to the powers, which I appreciate more.
Yeah. But it does, though, because I think Steve is he's like a student president or something, right?
Yeah.
He's I remember he's running for student president, which is why I found it so weird that the 3 of these people are quote unquote friends. Yeah. They're not really friends. They just kind of end up together.
Yeah.
Because
they were coming out of a party or something.
Yeah, no, Steve knows Andrew, Steve knows Matt, who is Andrew, the protagonist / antagonist of the movie. So, and then Matt drags him to a party. Matt drags Andrew to a party. And Andrew is the shithead teenager who's, surprise, abused by his parents. You see the theme we're going with here?
Yeah.
So, it's like...
But literal abuse. Like
actual
physical, verbal, and physical. Matilda seems to be just verbal. Danny is being beat up, and now we have the 1-2 punch of verbal and physical.
Yeah, and his dad is an alcoholic who's a firefighter, which I don't really understand because it's like
they have good pensions.
He's a former firefighter. I think yeah. So he's not still a firefighter, but he's an alcoholic. He. Like, the mom is dying of cancer, and like Andrew, the super moody teenager, is just like, oh, everyone sucks. Like life sucks. Even though his cousin is actually like a really decent guy who tries to take care of him. So that's why I was just like, yeah. So, but yeah, so yeah, they get to this party, which I still don't understand how Andrew even got into the party. Yeah, it was cousin, I guess. And
it's
then,
like, film this cool shit.
yeah, because he's doing it. Yeah, obviously.
It's like the doc. Well, your mother's dying, which is probably obviously affecting him. So it's like
you're documenting your life.
You need something. You need some form of structure to make sense of what's going on in your life right now.
He finds it. I think he finds the camcorder in like the attic or something. I don't know where he finds the camcorder, but he just is like, I'm gonna document my entire life. And of course, the dad is giving him shit about it, like the whole movie, and always telling him to like turn off the camera and everything. But I don't know. It's such a weird, unlikely trio for the movie. And I think the only thing that really holds them together is the fact that they have this secret they found.
Yeah.
It was like a meteor, right?
Yeah, or something.
It was a meteor.
It's never explained.
They
for
never
the most
explained what happened.
Which
There's
is
no aliens
which
that
I
show
am
up
fine with entirely.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
It's like the only like thing that like gets alluded to for it's like whatever the hell it is that like this is something crazy was that they come back later and it's paved over, like the place is sealed.
Oh yeah, because it's just like the first time they went down, they went all the way in and like got their powers, and then I guess like FBI starts showing up or whatever. So then they leave, and then they come back, and then it's completely it's completely covered over and like it's like roped off and like covered up, and as if nothing ever happened, because obviously the government just erased this.
Which is funny that it reminded me of like an X-Files episode, because I can't remember what the episode was exactly, but like there's some crazy shit in this cave and it does something crazy, and it's just like fill it with cement.
Yeah,
and we're done.
Yeah, problem solved. But yeah, they never go back to it, and the government doesn't.
Yeah, they're never involved again, which I appreciate, because it's the story of three kids who
have powers and
like how they react to the world with those powers in the case of their own individual circumstances.
Which is also another reason why I really like this movie, because not that I would be like moody Andrew, but I would definitely be kind of like Steve, as if like, oh my god, I have freaking superpowers. I can do whatever I want, but like not go crazy, but just have fun.
Yeah, given the circumstances that Andrew is coming from. Yeah, it's like probably the worst time he could have had powers.
Yeah, it is his life. I mean, that's basically how the story turns him into the antagonist. This is the worst time for him to be stronger than everybody else. Because he starts calling himself Apex Predator and like talking to himself and like no one can come after me and everything. And so it's like they have super strength. They have telekinetic powers. Yeah. They can later on in the movie they can fly.
Yeah. Repelling
and
bullets.
I think Andrew can kind of control the weather when he's like super angry, because that's how he kills Steve. Well, I mean, he never owns up to it.
Yeah, it's like, did you do it? It's like,
yeah, and because Matt and Steve are trying to be like normal people, be like, we have these kinds of powers, and just like if you don't want like the world being like, you need to help it, like let's try to keep this a secret. And Steve is, I think their noses bleed when they're super stressed, but it's like when something happens to one of them, they can all kind of feel it and their nose starts bleeding. So I think like Steve tries to like calm him down, and then he kills him, which I was like, oh, was it too much to ask that black guy make the movie? And it's especially because I knew it was going to happen, because he was such like the total opposite of Andrew.
He was also kind of a mediator.
Well, the cousin was the mediator, kind of, because the cousin was like the middle ground between them, because Steve was like super popular, like class president, and just like, all around like good guy that everybody liked. And then you had Andrew, who was complete outcast, who, like, when they went to, doesn't he, like, throw up on...
Yeah. Wait, so
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, some girl, like,
they're about
is
to
gonna
go
have...
do
Yeah,
it.
they're about to have sex, and he just, like, pukes because he's so drunk.
Yeah.
Which I'm just like, how much did you drink that you, like, puked before you were... before you... I mean, yeah, I don't get that drunk. Because I have superpowers when it comes to alcohol. But yeah, so he's just like, and then of course everyone makes fun of him for that because he's just awkward the whole movie, and it's like this is how villains are made.
Yeah, and now this person actually has a means to fight back.
Yeah,
it's not even just like, you know, it's one thing to stand up for yourself, but it's one thing to be able to stand up to yourself for yourself with extraordinary force.
Yeah, and it happens like this movie. It's not a long amount of time that they have this power. I think it's like everything is within like either a school year or a semester. Like this isn't a long period of time for him to go to for him to come from being a nobody who's being abused and has no power whatsoever to just being able to destroy everyone with his mind. So yeah, this is how villains are made in this movie. But it just goes to show that, hey, be careful who you mess with in life in general, because you never know what they're capable of. Be careful who you mess with in school. You never know. Kids can pop off. Like I definitely saw some kids get back at their bullies when I was in school, and it was never pretty. It was either like really sad to watch because it's just like this kid is going insane and about to. It was just like, I was like, did you ever had a kid in your school who you saw him being bullied and you're just like, that kid's gonna come to school with a gun one day?
No,
I did.
But yeah, because you
I went to private school. Those kids are ruthless.
Yeah, you're in private school. Well,
I went to a religious private school.
Maybe because I hang out with the kids who are most likely to be the shooters or perceived as the shooters. So I know.
Yeah, public school kids are like, hey, that kid's gonna come to school with a gun one day. Let's not.
But I was friends with those kids, so I had no concerns. Not for my safety in that regard. Like, oh, this guy's my buddy. Don't got to worry about that. No, in the sense that like this is such a rare occurrence that, as always, in anything that is produced by the media, it gets overblown.
But I'm from Florida.
I still stand by what I'm saying. It's like, so a gator walks into your school, takes off opens his backpack. Takes some meth.
No, there's like we definitely had a kid who, obviously I wasn't part of this group because it was kind of a macho male bully group, so all the girls were like, you guys are dumb, leave us alone. So they kind of picked on the one kid who was like, he was really chubby and short and his voice was still cracking, and he played, I don't remember if it's Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon, but he was like really into card games and stuff. And I remember I went to the mall and they was having, I guess it was a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament that they were having, and I actually saw him playing, and I think he did really well in the tournament. But I just remember being like, oh, well, that's interesting. Like, I didn't care. I collected Yu-Gi-Oh Pokemon cards, so I didn't care. But I think someone at school found out about it, and they just relentlessly teased him for it. And I always thought that was such a stupid thing to tease him about, but they just found every problem with it and teaching and like teasing him and stuff. And then I just remember having this thought, just being like, this kid might come to school with a gun one day. I couldn't, it's not like, oh, I couldn't do anything about it. Like the teachers knew it was happening.
Yeah.
Like it's a pretty small school.
Yeah.
And they can't do anything besides because they're not like beating up the kid or anything. It was just like not physical. It was just mental and emotional abuse from other kids their age. And they were very much like, oh, let's pray about it. And I was like, I don't think that's how that works, but whatever. And I think he got pulled out of school. His mom pulled him out of school, and the boys were cheering as he left.
The fuck?
And I was just like, y'all gonna get shot. Like, I mean, nothing ever happened, but it was definitely like, if that kid had superpowers, our school would have been destroyed.
Kids are shit.
So that's kind of how I imagine.
So we have one movie where child is a victim of adults, child is a victim of his peers, child is a victim of adult. Well, one is a victim of adults. The other two are just trying to get by, but they don't know. They can't reach the person who's a victim of adults and just circumstances. In this case, because his mom's dying of fucking cancer.
Yeah, his mom's
and
dying of cancer, and his father, like, and when he gets in the hospital, Andrew goes in the hospital because he tries to. He goes to steal medicine or something.
He robs some people.
Yeah, he robs some people and then ends up blowing up a gas station. So he ends up in the hospital, and like while he's in the hospital, unconscious, his dad is blaming him for his mother dying because his mom died while. I guess because I don't know how that could they not choose between who to I don't know.
Like I had to be here for this or something.
I don't know. Like the dad blames him. He just says it's his fault for no reason.
Because he's in grief.
Yeah, his dad's in grief, so he blames him and then tries to like punch him. Keep in mind, his child is in the hospital, pretty much unconscious, and he tries to punch him or whatever, and then Andrew just goes berserk and throws him out of the window. And
which is fair.
Like, of course, like the whole nosebleed thing happens again. Yeah. So Matt comes. Oh, this is all after Steve is dead, by the way. They killed the black guy, just in case. You know, still have issues with that. Steve, Andrew definitely kills Steve. And Matt is just like, hey, do you know how he died? It's like, Matt is like, being the nice person, I'm like, I'm giving you the chance.
Yeah, giving the benefit of the doubt.
I'm going to give you the chance to tell me that that you know something about how Steve died. Because I know that he just wasn't flying in the middle of a storm and struck by lightning for no reason. And also, I can feel when you guys are like having issues. So come clean, and Andrew never does. Yeah, but I mean, they all know how it happens.
It's like the literal tempest of emotions of being young and in the circumstances that Andrew has to particularly deal with. It's like it's funny to call him the antagonist because it's like he is a victim of circumstance. Yeah. And in this case, it's like, does he go about it the wrong way? Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, this movie doesn't really have any like real villains. Like, yes, there's the dad, but he's not really in the movie outside of those those few scenes where it establishes why Andrew is so. Yeah,
and it's like, is his alcoholism a byproduct of his wife getting cancer?
Yeah, because he's an ex-firefighter. I don't remember what caused him to no longer be a firefighter because he's not too old to be one or anything. So I guess he lost his job maybe due to alcoholism or something. His wife is dying and his kid is an easy target.
Which is, again, shitty parenting as it goes around.
Yeah. So it's just like, so of course Andrew just kills the dad, which is like, I mean, you saw this coming.
Yeah. But it's like someone who has felt relatively powerless given the circumstances that surround him and is now suddenly given a explosively vicious way to fight back.
Yeah. And just does it. And to be completely honest, I'm not mad at him for that.
No, because it's hard to be mad at him for it specifically.
Sometimes I see villains in movies and I'm just like, why didn't you kill this person? Like, why doesn't anybody just kill this person? Like, this person is not redeemable at all. So,
but I feel like the film does do a good job of it doesn't paint him as a hero by any means.
No, he's definitely not.
He's definitely not. Yeah, but
I don't think they ever actually used their powers to save anyone.
No, like they were determined not to, but. Or even to like really let it get out for the most part.
Yeah, like Steve and Matt were actually trying to be normal people. Yeah. And they promised that, I think where is it they're going to go?
Tibet.
Yeah. So they promised they're going to fly to Tibet and like learn their powers and be happy or whatever. Yeah. And then shit hit the fan. Steve died. Andrew couldn't deal with, why was Andrew there anyway? Oh, okay.
Because they asked him to film it, or Matt asked him to film it.
Oh, okay. So the reason why Steve and them end up in that like thundercloud thing is because after he vomits on that girl, he gets bullied about it. Then Andrew gets more aggressive because he's being bullied, and then his dad tries to come at him again, and then he just fucking goes in a rage. Then they do the then he makes the storm, and that's when Steve tries to console him, because I think Matt ignores that something's going on, and Steve figures it out that something's wrong with Andrew. So he flies up to try to console him and be like, hey, what's the problem? Like calm down.
Yeah.
Like, your powers are getting out of control. And then
Lightning.
Andrew hits him with lightning. It's just like, it said he's suddenly struck by lightning and killed. I was like, I think Andrew inadvertently killed him.
And we don't even they don't even mention it's like, oh, they can control this. It's like, but it is kind of alluded to that, like,
well, because they see the FBI, because I think it was the second time they went back to the place.
Yeah.
They see like all the government officials around the place, and then when they come back again, it's sealed over, and they're just like, all right, this needs to be a secret, unless you want to end up in a lab somewhere or dead. So, I obviously, like, I just remember watching the movie and being like, okay, yeah, I know, like, something's crazy is gonna happen with this kid, but I didn't think he was gonna spiral.
Yeah.
So quickly.
Never mind that, early act, it's like, he's like, did you push that truck into the lake? It's like, yeah, he fucking did.
Yeah.
And they're very casual, blasé about it, too, and kind of a really stunning amount of disbelief. It's like, no, they totally swerved apropos of nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then, it's like
Andrew has no problem.
So even if he did do it by accident, or even if they happen to have swerved off, you're going to tell me you're not going to try and save the people drowning, potentially, or person drowning?
Yeah. So, yeah. But...
because it cuts a lot to it. During that part, it's like, it kind of bothers me that they cut from it. It's just like, did you do it? It's like, they start immediately talking about the circumstances of the situation, rather than it's like, there's a truck in the water, you're right there. Are you going to help them? That is a come-up. Which I thought was really odd.
Actually, Matt is the one who's like, we need to hide our powers. We can't like use them to save people and stuff. Steve kind of wants to be a hero just because, he's the class president, the jock and everything. And Andrew is just like, I just want to get back at everybody. So it's kind of weird because it's like you have Steve who wants to be the good guy. And you have Andrew who just... like, he's like, I finally have control in my life. Yeah. And you have Matt who's like, let's just be normal. Yeah. And then Matt ends up being the only one who survives in the movie. Because he's the only one who doesn't want to go to either extreme. He's just like, let's be normal, let's stay calm, let's not tell anyone about our powers, let's also not try to kill people. And then, of course, Matt's the only one that really survives in the movie and kind of continues the film about the powers, goes to Tibet and all that stuff. But yeah, and it's... so... but I was just like, what happens after that? Because the police are definitely surrounding them for their fight. Like, that final fight that they have, there's definitely police there. There's definitely everything happening.
Everyone's
maybe they just don't see them.
Everyone collectively shitting their pants.
Yeah, maybe because they're flying, and because I think, because they're in Seattle. Yeah. So they go to the Space Needle and stuff, and they're fighting. So I guess nobody actually ever sees his face. But, like, when they start connecting all the dead bodies, like, Andrew's father, Andrew, like, oh, who's the next person to confront? Oh, this only the last surviving member of the family, the cousin. But yeah, I think, does he like bury him or something in Tibet? I don't know.
He doesn't bury him, but
I just remember
he's
in the
camera.
mountain.
Yeah, he has Andrew's camera.
Yeah, I feel like we shouldn't have ended on such a dark one. Yeah, we started so happy.
I'd say we didn't even go chronologically either, like in terms of like when the movies came out. Yeah, I think it was more of like the age in which we got to approach them. Yeah, Matilda would have come out at a time when we were more receptive to it. We would only be able to catch Karate Kid on television, which was probably where we saw it the first time anyway. At that point,
we never owned the Karate Kid. It came on TV a lot,
and then Chronicles, within recent memory. Yeah, it's barely 5 years ago or 7 years ago.
Yeah, I definitely planned this in the order that I remember watching it.
And I feel that's a better assessment in terms of like how we would have perceived them growing around them, as opposed to like
we still mention some of the zeitgeist, I guess, surrounding it, except for Chronicle because it's within such recent memory.
Yeah.
It's, I guess,
It's
interesting because
23 when I saw Chronicle.
it was 2012, so it's like it's interesting
Yeah, it's
too.
22 when I saw Chronicle.
It's interesting for it too because considering this is so 9/11 affected a lot of our media both today and even a little bit after that. So it was interesting how a post 9/11 movie managed to not have its building destruction reference 9/11 as kind of that on there. Like it was kind of
because this movie's filmed in Seattle, so they never really.
So it helped in that. That helped a lot too, because New York is usually our go-to destroy the city.
Yeah, so I'm kind of glad that. But to be fair, this movie was filmed 9/11. So yeah, so 10 years later, I think they kind of started moving away from, just having disaster movies in New York and stuff. Okay, because it's like I feel like we kind of
we still have them, but it's like it's one of those.
It's not as many because it's kind of like we've milked that, and it's like
don't give them credit that they would not still milk it. Michael Bay's entire career was based off of that.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, we're gonna do a Michael Bay episode probably. We have to.
It's been done.
But we have to talk about the Michael. Well, okay. How about this? We'll only talk about the ones that
we'll
actually like.
If anything, because you'd mentioned before, The Rock.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Rock.
Because I haven't seen it in fucking forever.
Yeah.
And it's just as probably dumb as I remember it being. But that's because Nick Cage is, and that at least redeems it somewhat.
Yeah.
And Sean Connery.
Yeah. I used to be I watched League of Extraordinary Gentlemen more than once because
Sean Connery's in it.
I just like Sean Connery. I just really like Sean Connery. Like he was my first Bond, but of course, Pierce Brosnan. It's my favorite. I liked him more. I'm not a fan of Daniel Craig one.
Okay.
I mean, I understand it's like PTSD, like post like more realistic Bond, but I don't care.
Yeah, that's like
I liked suave, debonair, like can get him.
Look, our bullshit attachment to gritty realism.
And he slept with Halle Berry.
That's the Pierce Brosnans are fucking garbage. They're if anything, we should do the '90s of fucking Pierce Brosnan Bond because those are all awful. Those are all.
I liked them. Okay, we're gonna do the Bond movies.
Yeah, because
I like them.
Right.
I like the Bond.
Well, apropos of not having to go. Rather than talk about what we want to do for the next episodes, I guess we can leave you at that.
Yeah.
Right. Let's think of any other connective tissue.
No, I'm good.
I
think we've talked about these movies ad nauseum, and I'm very satisfied now because of that. And we're almost hitting half an hour.
So,
well,
thank you for joining us.
An hour and a half.
Thank you for joining us this fine morning, afternoon, evening paradox.
Yeah, and so that was our first episode of I Have Questions. Hope you guys like it. So we'll see you guys next time with 3 different movies. Goodbye and good night.
Night, morning, evening. Take care.
Shut up, Alex.